talk to us about Spinel origins. Dr. Bridge, welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to share with you some of my lab experience. I will go into what sizes, colors, and origins are there, what I have personally observed, stones, and try to give you some statistics. Then I want to go through the identification of the different spinels in the microscope using inclusions, visiting all the different sources. So that will be the provenances that I'm going to visit with you: Burma, Vietnam, Tajikistan, Madagascar, Sri Lanka. A little bit some heat-treatment experiments on Spinel, because we have to cover that, and also the synthetic Spinel, of course. So this is the first chart of what kind of sizes and colors did I observe. On the left side, you see the numbers of certified Spinels. Below, you see the categories made in sizes 1 to 5 carat, 5 to 10, up to over 100 carat Spinels. And then you see the different type of colors for each category. Let's say 1 to 5 carat, as you see at the left, and you will not be surprised, is the most common size. It's smaller, and when we go to larger sizes, I speak all the time about Spinels that are suitable for sending for certification, not, I mean, like highest quality. And then you see, like in the category 1 to 5 carat, you see in those colors, orange, red, pink, pinkish red, and of course vivid red, as we are, is like the most, let's say, expensive or requested color in the market, because I like the very vibrant pinkish red colors. You see that how is the distribution of numbers of stones that I have tested. I am assuming now, as I'm working already 25 years in a laboratory and testing every day myself, that I have a kind of an overlook what is in the marketplace. That would be in the colors of lavender colors and so on. The sizes, you can see yourself that this, again, we have gem spinels in large sizes over 20 carat, 30 carat, up to over 100 carat. So that means spinels are existing in relatively large sizes and with a large variety of different colors. Then we have, of course, it is very fantastic spinels from Tanzania, from Mahenge, which you find in the gem shows when you go to certain companies and look what they have in the outlets, in the windows, and you can see some very astonishing spinels. And there you find these Tanzanian spinels that can be easily over 30 carat in like almost, let's say, eye clean gemstones. And then now what I want to do is I want to go with you on a little trip.
อันนี้ย่อมาว่าทองทีแหลกครับ
So we're visiting together now Burma. So I'm going with you now to the mines, and I show you how the source of these beautiful spinels is, and we separating the colors and qualities according to origin, and how they are found through my own expeditions, and then how to identify them with the microscope. So that was in that is Mogok, with me looking down to the main area in Mogok, and then the research was like that. We made it about totally 3 weeks field work in Mogok, then walking into the different mining areas, and going to the miner's house and a little bit to the mine itself as good as possible. And then this is like the miner's house, walking there, and then selecting out what you have there, and studying with the microscope. And that is my wife that joined me. She is behind there. She joined me today also, and she helps a lot on this research and also the pictures. And then discussing with the miners where the stones are found, if it's a primary mine, and studying the maps and so on, and getting an understanding how the spinels occur. For example, do the spinels occur together with corundum, or they come independently, and so we can conclude something about the rarity. Going into the washing site, you cannot expect to find gemstones right at the place where you walk, so sampling directly from the mine, we had a different approach for that. That was just looking ourselves. And later we had to send an agent up to the mine, stayed with the miners, and made an agreement with the miner that he can take smaller stones out, and and coming back regularly to us to the lab. This was taking a couple of years for every country. Then checking a little bit the Geiger counter and so on, and then seeing the different mining operations and mapping them. And some insight for you how primary mines in mobile are produced. So that would be insight. Then we have these gemstone markets where everything gets mixed up and moved widely around inside the valley between different marketplaces. Here are a few cases on that. Then the spinels are presented already in Burmese cut style in the valley for the market. Then the rough stone market in different villages where we can take samples, and they were shown like what is found together with the spinel, the amethyst, the assorted minerals, and corundum, sapphire, a lot of spinels, and very big spinels, but not gem quality, mineral specimens. And then we made a little testings in the mine to see how much synthetics is in and so on, and it was amazing how much was already in the mining site. Little study at the mine on the prices, what happened with Spinel in relation to the other gemstones in the year from 2002 to 2007. And you see here, this was, of course, the years where there was a lot of production, here in this example in Mohawk, and where all the gemstones increased a lot in price. Different examples, for example, a pigeon blood ruby or 5-carat ruby at that time, which increased from $5,000 to $10,000 to $30,000 a carat. Then together the sapphires went. Today it's completely different prices again. This was only a snapshot from a couple of years. And then together with these prices, you see also the vivid red spinels, how they were increasing, and I would say like 10 times over a period of 5 years. And then the spinels are often found together with the ruby, and when the ruby mines in production go down, the spinel production also goes down, and so their price evolution is a little bit linked to those of rubies. So that means that perspective of spinel prices should go up when the others main product or byproduct are not mined anymore. Now we go to the inclusions in Burmese spinels. So everything that comes now is Burmese first. Here you see a cavity in an unheated spinel filled with T-phase inclusion, multiple, repeated. And here we had a spinel from Mansin in eastern Mohawk, near the uranium mine, which had yellowish fluids in it, actually hydrocarbon inclusions, together with graphite and other very, very strange inclusions. And there must be huge research made before we understand how hydrocarbon inclusions come into the spinel. Then these cone-shaped inclusions turned out to be always apatite. So we have fluids and we have calcium phosphate mineral inclusions. This apatite can be round, like this. This is one particular mine in the valley that produces that round apatite crystals. Why we know it's apatite? Because sometimes they come to the surface and we analyze them with a scanning electron microscope, and that can detect the chemistry at the same time and find calcium phosphate. So we had a project going on that. Another mineral, a lot of the minerals, even they have different habit, turned out to be apatite. Here, two apatites in the middle is uraninite crystal locked in. So what happens to an apatite when it gets heated, let's say to 1200 degrees, and so we will probably expect some limited stability on the apatite, and actually that's what we have seen. It will be a lot of cracks and reaction created around the minerals. So apatite is a very welcome inclusion in Spinel. It's a good tracer. Here all world of different apatites, in the middle is sulfide. And then graphite. And then the negative crystals in Spinel, surrounded by a cloud, a white cloud. But this white cloud was not a crack. These negative crystals often have the shape of an octahedron, the same like a Spinel, but are filled with a fluid, of course, normally CO2, I expect, and this CO2 are trapped in the nature under certain pressure temperature, and later, when they get overheated, they tend to explode, particularly if the heat treatment of a stone would go to high temperature. Here, more zoomed for you. So this is a natural inclusion feature. Here, a negative crystal with secondary feathers of fluid inclusion. So the inside the fluids were already during the geological time already cracked but healed again. So you have a crack or something around a negative crystal, but it's healed. But that's not a sign of heat treatment. All these worlds here, there's all fluid inclusions that have something suffered and so on, but not a heat treatment. Here are, of course, an arrangement of this negative crystal fluid inclusion, as you probably all know it. That's where then we could identify that was an olivine, identified with Raman spectroscopy. Now we go to a completely different place in Vietnam and to northern Vietnam. And now when we want to give a color that is most famous for Burma and notably found there, most valuable, it would be a vivid red Spinel. When we think about Vietnam, then we're thinking about cobalt blue Spinel without any gray or black. So up in the north of Vietnam, we go to the LuIen area. It's characterized by steep mountains, carbonate mountains, and flat paddy fields, erosion flood products of the mountains around. And fortunately, while we had in Burma huge big holes for mining, regardless of the nature of nothing, in North Vietnam the mining actually is not really permitted. It's a little bit mining and quarries to produce marble rocks, but generally they don't allow the big mining operations in the rice fields. But there is of course mining going on, and we occasionally cornflower blue Spinel like this over 10 carat example can be found, but they are very exceptional. So back to the valley, and here was this mining spot where the blue Spinels were found on a visit. Here I was checking, this is the hand of Vladimir Jaworski and his famous ring, and then that was a rough blue Spinel that was offered, and I was quite astonished when I heard about what kind of prices they were negotiating, and so it was more than sapphire per carat, and so very interesting how much this Spinel, cornflower blue Spinel, have been skyrocketed in the price, and how much is the demand for it. He had another series of these blue Spinels from Vietnam, which is a little bit the trademark for there. Then we go to inclusions of the blue Spinels, where before we had all this apatite and these negative crystals and graphite and so on, all welcoming minerals to trace whether we have heat treatment or not in terms of microscopic observation. And here in the Vietnam Spinels, we have these oriented evils. In a very fabulous way, they occur in these cobalt Spinels. With the chemistry, I will give you later the data. Or that was a faceted stone with all this silk that appeared, and it soft, and here it was like crossed. Then there was rarely a mineral there that we could identify. This one was a tremolite crystal that reached the surface, so we can make some Raman and chemical composition. So now let's go to Tajikistan, and that is this local village next to the mine in the Pamir mountain regions, so called, but actually it is the border river to Afghanistan, Tajikistan, and the mines are on the side of Tajikistan, and here on the side of the valley. So the Tajikistan Spinels are extremely large. The color you see here, the rough, is over 100 carat. And then the spinels are a little bit purplish pink, not the same vibrant pinkish red like the spinels from Mahenge in Tanzania, and they have not the same beautiful color like the pink spinels from Burma, but they are much more larger. It's like zooming. So the inclusions in Tajikistan are again completely different, but it's a little bit stereotype what I bring in. There are a lot of overlaps, so you cannot just issue the one original reports. So three-phase inclusions. With you see in the center there's a solid crystal, and there was a gas bubble, and so on. So we found three-phase inclusion, like a network of fluids, while before the fluids were like isolated primary crystal of negative crystals. We have here a network, a fingerprint, but in a completely different way than normally you're used. Again, the apatite is like a burner. It goes almost to all the different deposits. Madagascar, out of Madagascar, into the Ilagak area, and again here would be also another trademark spinel that you could find here next to many different colors. There would be the dark grayish blue or blackish blue, but with a good blue color, but not really cobalt spinels. So that was a rough over 100 carat here, the photograph, and then you can relatively clean stones cut out of it, and so it's traveling through the area. It's a huge, vast area, and have maybe a workforce of 100,000 miners, mostly private entrepreneurs, but here in the foreground was a mine operated by a person who hired like 200-300 people at the time, and big pits. Then this was the truck we take to go to Madagascar. It was important to have two trucks, one following with some armed personnel, like the hired military people, because when you drive out like 50 or 100 kilometers away from the next police station, you are just in the middle of a huge crowd of miners, and they look to you to source of all kind of things that they want to not have. And then this was the guy working with me, and then with the GPS, and in the background was a group of 300-400 people living there from a village 10-20 kilometers away, and then could map a little bit what was going on. And here is this village that was a miner village. There's the houses they live in, and then water has to be brought in. There's no pipes, and the children are there, and so on. It's a photography from my wife. This one also. Then some of the pits have to be ventilated by manual force, no electricity. You see the plastic is squeezed, so is the ventilation. And then the guys come out to the ground, and so on. And here you see me have a little bit of shape like this, because the guy in the middle just came out of the pit, and he couldn't go to the toilet for like the last 3-4 hours. So he was sweating so much he couldn't take it. So this here is the pit of the miners, which organized. The floor was like isolated. When the guy has these isolated mines, they know where to find something. Later, when the big prospectors come, they ask the guys where did we find the stone, and then they can dig it there. So they prepare in the ground, and they can go on the pits down 30 meters, 40 meters down, and later they know where the stones are. Madagascar has also negative crystals, and so a little bit silk, similar like Burmese, but they have something more. They have like these very particular tubes, and look like plants and spiders and spicules, and like this. So very particular, found it all the time. And then some graphite was there, and this type of inclusions. Most of the time, all tubes are eroded away minerals. And then Tanzania inclusions. Now we make a jump from Madagascar now to Tanzania. Tanzania, again, the inclusion patterns are completely different. They have like a lot of impurities, clouds, and have some silk. You see now the transparency of the crystal is affected, and there where normally the heat treatment came in traditionally up to now. Sri Lanka is for the lavender colors and so on. So that was 3 months ago in the Elahera area. and driving into the mine, and some mining directly from the car. And that one problem in the mining in Sri Lanka is what I realized there is when one miner came completely running crazy and so on, sometimes isolated elephant bulls come into the mines, and they are very dangerous. They come in the night and they rampage the mine. So this is one mining style. The mining style is a very small operation in the rice field. The Sri Lankans have managed to maintain nature and mining and so on very nicely, and so the people have this social behavior in the mining place, and they have been very successful to exporting this to other places like Tanzania and Madagascar. I made a little movie about it if you want to know more how they managed to be successful and why they made it and not others. So when they mining out the ilam, the gemstone layers on the ground, they put it on one pit. They cannot wash it without the miner there. And then when it's washed, then it has to be first given thanks to the gods for providing all this fortune. And then it's washed. So now this is a pit a little bit bigger. And then you could study there the layers exactly where the gemstones are. And they were always marked with huge corundum crystals, so big, but all intransparent, really like half-kilo pieces. And a little bit above, always big quartz crystals. So the guy said, okay, first come the big quartz crystals, then come the big corundum crystals, and then come the gemstones. And then, so the spinels in Sri Lanka, of course, this one is 42 carat here, right? And then cobalt spinels, and then these were the ones I collected or acquired myself last December for research, and you see yourself a lot of lavender pastel colors and so on. Then again, the inclusions we have a little bit silk in the more purplish materials. We have isolated crystals without cracks. And then here was the same like Vietnamese style silk, and it created a star. Here also. Synthetics inclusions. These are laser shots to take the chemistry. This is blue cobalt spinel, flux spinel, same refractive index like the lateral spinel. There is also a flux spinel pink, and the crystal, the blue one, and then the inclusions, of course, flux with a bubble. Intransparent flux, interconnected flux feather, and then orangey color transparency. So metal, platinum, transparent, and this very strange things that you from platinum that you will never find in reflection like that. So the spinels occur in different colors from different origins, but the colors and highlights you have from different mining areas are quite different. So having the knowledge of what sizes and what colors occur from which mining area, you can get a quite good idea where you are to begin with your investigation. Certain things are possible, certain things are not possible. Then you have to separate it, of course, from synthetic materials according to the geological test from your geological books with a state pattern and with refractive index and with all that to separate the easy synthetic materials out. You ended up with the more difficult synthetic materials that normally are only red or pinkish red or blue or cobalt blue or something like that, but not fancy colors. Okay, so that was it for today. Thank you very much.